First film in the US was A Little Princess, and it's one of my favourites of your films because I think it's a wonderful treatment of the imagination of a child.
It's a film that if I haven't seen any of my films ever since I finished them. I don't really like them, but Little Princess is the one that if I have to choose one film that I like, it would be A Little Princess probably.
Why?
I don't know. I find it is my most personal film for some reason. Also, as I don't see the films and I don't think so much about them, I remember more the experience of making them. And it was an amazing, beautiful experience doing that film. I guess that I was going through a similar process as the girl, trying to find my own spiritual awakening. It pretty much came in sync with doing that film.
Mm-hmm. And something I like about it when I read the script was that everything is in the context of social class, in the fracture of social class, in which there's the interpretation in which dignity is connected with class. So it's all of this. Now I was looking at that. That's Patrick Doyle's music. Yeah. It's so beautiful. I had two collaborations with Patrick Doyle. One was this, the other was Great Expectations.
Part of what you were talking about earlier was rhythm and how you create rhythm in filmmaking. And I think one of the ways you do that, both in A Little Princess and in Great Expectations, is through music.
Yeah, that was the second collaboration with Patrick Doyle. And the idea at the beginning was to do a score in which different rock and pop artists were going to collaborate with him in the scoring. Mm. And it was partially successful because we had a lot of interference from the music industry, in which it was a nightmare of trying to impose their numbers into the film. I'd say it was a film that, generally speaking, was a very painful experience for me. I think it's a film that, if you see it by pieces, you could think that it's a really great film. The problem is when you see the whole thing together. I always say that you should see Great Expectations because even if the film is bad, you have great paintings. Francesco Clemente did the paintings for the film, and the paintings are really beautiful.
Yeah, they are.
Also, Patrick Doyle's music. So.
What about the move to Harry Potter? I mean, suddenly you make a Harry Potter film.
It was offered. I received this offer. It was right after Y Tu Mamá También. After Y Tu Mamá También, I wrote with Tim Sexton the screenplay for Children of Men. Mm-hmm. Didn't happen. They didn't want to do it at that point. I was left in a limbo. And it's when Harry Potter came along that I remember with Gael and Diego, we used to make so many jokes about Harry Potter. So I was making jokes about it, and actually I left this. I didn't really get into reading the script until I spoke with Guillermo. He was about to start doing Hellboy, and I said, laughing, they offer me Harry Potter. What the heck is this? And then he got really pissed off at me. He's saying, why are you saying that? Have you read Harry Potter? He says, no, I haven't. Well, you should read Harry Potter. Mm-hmm. And he started saying, you have to do Harry Potter. You should do Harry Potter. And then I read Harry Potter and fell in love with it. It was one of those things in which then Guillermo gave me the best advice. He said, I think you have to do Harry Potter. And if you do it, completely serve the material. Be humble and just honor the material and serve the material. Don't try to do your stuff. If you honor and serve the material, you may do a very personal film. Mm-hmm. And I understood what Guillermo was talking about. When you're just serving honestly, then just your personal stuff just comes through automatically.
Was it difficult having Chris, who directed the first two films, kind of literally over your shoulder as producer of the venture?
He was very respectful. At some point, we have two different schools of thought in terms of cinema. Chris is a filmmaker that shoots a lot, covers a lot, and then sorts things in editing. I tend to do the shots I need, and it's very fluid shots, no close-ups, very wide. And at the beginning, I started shooting very wide. He was very concerned. He said, you don't have close-ups. Mm-hmm. You're not doing coverage. And what I did is I put together I don't know, 10, 15 minutes of material. He saw them and says, well, I have nothing to say, it's great, just keep on going.
Were you very conscious of the idea of truth in the play, or how
well,
you play with truth?
It's already in the material. That was already it's part of what the book is about. And that's one of the reasons I connected with the source material. So I was so lucky to work with Gary Oldman. It was such a treat to work with him.
And it's a very understated performance by Gary Oldman.
He was actually, I remember he was struggling so much with it. And he's saying that then he said, I'm so used to do everything with masks, playing with plain accents. And he says, this is me. So it's so difficult to play this character. And he really got into it. I was touched. Every time I was working with Gary, it was an honor.
The performances are understated, but also, you had a whole Hollywood studio behind you, and you could, play with as much computer-generated imagery as you want. And obviously there is computer-generated imagery, but also there's some really low-tech stuff. I'm thinking about the bus, the night bus, which you did with cranking a camera, I believe. I mean, did you not feel, okay, I've got all this computer-generated, I'm going to go overboard with all of this? Did you not feel the temptation was there?
No, the other way, we were trying to downplay as much as, but the thing is so difficult in these films to downplay the visual effects. What we were trying is to integrate them as much as we could. It was all the time that approach. Now, and with the big help of Michael Serasian, the cinematographer, that went into more gritty lighting into the whole thing. But when you're doing these universes, you cannot escape visual effects. I was talking with Terry Gilliam the other day, and he was talking about King Kong, the original King Kong, the first King Kong, and he says that the beauty of that is that you don't see something completely well realized. So your imagination has to play a role in what you're seeing. And that's what we're trying to do with the night bus. The night bus was an opportunity because we were fully aware that once that you go into the hippogriff, you have to, in this context, you have to be more photorealist. But in the night bus, we were thinking about how would they do it in the 50s. And we came to the conclusion that it would be something like that.
I want to ask you a little bit about Children of Men, because there's a way in which I think that film, the look of the film looks back, but also is very much of the present, even though it's set in 2027.
We were clear that we didn't want to do a science fiction film. We wanted to do a film about today. We have to honor certain conventions of the story, but what we wanted to do is to create in Britain a microcosm of the world that exists outside the green zones. Pretty much what we wanted is that all the visual references have to do about things that are happening today. So everything that you see is pretty much stuff that is happening in different parts of the world, except we just funnel them into London. It was a very detailed research. I mean, we went as far as knowing exactly how many extras, the ethnicity, the percentage of ethnicities of the extras in each shot according to the neighborhood where we were shooting. Right. We wanted to be it was as much almost a sociological exercise. And also the little things also is like deciding that the Michael Caine character, we wanted to model it. Michael obviously wanted to play like John Lennon. But we modeled the character as Steve Bell, the cartoonist in The Guardian. And actually Steve did the cartoons that he was supposed to, that's supposed to be Michael's work.
Again, in this film, you have a lot of long shots and on widescreen where you have foreground and background together. You're sustaining both at the same time, which always grounds the film in a very specific context. You're very aware of that contextualization. And also you have very little exposition in the film.
Yeah, actually, when I presented a draft, when I was about a few months before we started shooting, as everything I showed to Guillermo, Alejandro. Alejandro read the script and he says, well, I don't really get it. This is not a movie, this is an essay. And at first I got very angry with him. I said, you don't understand, you Hollywood creature. And I hang up the phone. And next morning, I realized what he was talking about. And I says, okay, sorry, Alejandro, tell me. I need your wisdom. And yeah, he was saying is that I was so focused in the essay part of it that I have not developed the characters. And then from then on, we start working and developing the characters. In that point, Clive Owen was fundamental. I consider Clive Owen a co-writer of the screenplay. Part of the anxiety while we were shooting the film is that for us, character was as important as the socio-political landscape that we were portraying. So everything that is in every single shot, that everything is very wide, everything had to convey as much information, all the information that you don't get through plot, you have to see it through detail. So yes, in that sense, it's not a very plot-oriented film. Because yes, as much as that is also the spiritual journey of the character, and obviously there's this whole thing of, there's obviously the infertilities in the film. I couldn't care less about infertility. I couldn't care less about explaining infertility. For me, fertility was nothing but a metaphor for the fading sense of hope. It was more like a spiritual infertility, if anything. And it's a journey into trying to come to terms with an awakening of a possibility of hope.
You've talked a lot about Guillermo del Toro and Alejandro González Iñárritu, and you're now going to form a production company together, Cha Cha Cha. I wonder if you could talk a little bit about that, about your new venture with your two friends.
Yes, Cha Cha Cha, Guillermo's Cha, Alejandro's Cha, and I'm Cha. So no problem if who goes first. It's an amazing venture. It's something that just happened organically. And we have this amazing opportunity to have this company in which we have complete creative control. We have full finance for our films with complete creative control of our films.
Alfonso, I would like to thank you very much. I was about to call you Alejandro. No, a miracle I haven't called you Gonzalo.
No, but you know, they always confuse me with Alejandro González Iñárritu. What is great, because when people come to me and congratulate me for Babel or Amores Perros, and actually to Alejandro for Harry Potter. Oh. But the difference is that Alejandro corrects them. I don't correct them, and I get very autocritical. You know? And then eventually I recommend the work of my friend Alfonso. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.